It's just fantastic. Captain's log. Subdates 210531.3. With Content Constable dropping tomorrow, I've decided to throw a party for one. Me. The rest of my crew can serve me grapes, wine, and caviar. This is going to be fun. This is going to be precious. This is going to be special because it's the, deflection joke of, air quotes around the word joke, of course. It's just a joke, bro. For this, we need a video. This video.
Hey, bestie! You're wrong. I think it's time for another adult pre-K lesson. What do you think? All right, turn your listening ears on. Zoop, catch a bubble in your mouth. Good job. Okay, here's the thing. Having a preference is something like, I'm looking for a partner who likes kayaking or wakes up early in the morning.
Right, so on my checklist I have annoying character, check. Condescending delivery, check. And I'm going to throw in a snide remark here. On my list it says here, person that can fit in a kayak. I'm just joking. I'd rather just have the kayak to myself. And if someone didn't get that joke, honestly, get help.
Or loves pizza.
Yeah, but how much pizza?
But when your preferences exclude an entire group of marginalized people, that's problematic. Okay, that's not nice. That's not a preference.
I'm going to say this again. I know that this is a character. However, there are people that believe this, and since you've put out multiple videos since this one particular TikTok, we are going to go through a few of them, I promise. The concept of having a preference based on arbitrary factors is not problematic in the slightest, nor is it prejudiced towards anyone else simply because someone chooses, as is their free right, who they would want to be with. I know people who have foot fetishes, people who have skin color preferences, people who have size preferences. I don't just mean the peen or the vagine. I'm of course referring to like the feeders and the polar opposites. I think you call them breathers. Breatharians? Those that take in nutrients via photosynthesis. No, that's the ecosexuals.
If you lump all fat people in one group together as though they are not very different individuals, that's fatphobic. Just like lumping all black people in one group and saying, I don't like black people is racist. And lumping all disabled people in one group and saying, I don't think people in wheelchairs are hot, is ableist. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I fully understand what you are trying to say. To lump all fat people together and not want to have any of that action does not mean one is afraid of fat people, which is exactly what fatphobic means. It's just being misused because people don't understand the word phobia. Unless you're of course including those who are afraid of being crushed by someone who's fat. Lumping all people together because of their skin color and not wanting any of that action. Okay. It's not racist, by the way, it's just a racial preference, because a lot of people do get that kind of kick. And as far as not wanting a piece of anyone who's in a wheelchair goes, there are people that want that, you know. It's just not some people, a lot of people, not the vast majority, I can't say for certain. I'm spending far too much time talking about somebody who is doing a character, and it is with this in mind we go to the next of your videos, an update of sorts.
Okay, now this is just getting ridiculous. Preference is a choice, something you like over another. Marginalization is to demean or treat someone less than or less of in existence. Now you tried to put preference and marginalization together as if they're one word and they're synonymous. They're not. And stop telling people to put bubble in their mouth like they're 5 years old. These are adults. And when you treat people like they're not adults because of your own personal insecurities, that has something to do with you.
Okay, I just want to throw that in there because that's actually a really good response. My video would have been a lot shorter if I just plagiarized his response. Now let's get to one of her responses.
It's okay to have a specific preference for who you want to date. Very specific. Like, I want to date someone who's athletic and has a similar athletic, active lifestyle to me.
Why the fuck you lying?
Okay, well, if you wouldn't date them even if they had that because they're fat, that's fatphobic.
No, I think the rest of us call that catfishing.
You're taking an entire group of marginalized people and you're generalizing them. You're reducing them down to this one assumption you've made based on their marginalized body.
The fun thing here is they're not marginalized. They are often criticized because they're fat. Obesity is on the rise in quite a number of the more progressive nations, and while we should accept people of all body shapes and sizes, many have criticisms when it comes to their diminishing health as they get older, and those that promote remarkably unhealthy living. Not wanting to date someone for being fat is fine. Again, it's not fatphobic, it is a choice. If you cannot accept choice and want to use the word choice to rail against individuals for their freedoms, then you are a control freak.
That's the problem. That's why it's prejudice. Fat people can be athletic. Fat people can be all kinds of shapes and sizes and body types. You're generalizing them.
Fat people can be athletic. Now, there are some instances where this can in fact be true. It does depend on the sport. But for the most part, many would consider it a contradictory statement, akin to that of an oxymoron, which I will give you an example: a tall dwarf. Now, the character you've seen so far has gone down like a lump of lead on TikTok. I had considered responding to all of them over there, but I can't be bothered. Instead, preferring to do it here because I felt that I could accomplish more by railing on a really poorly executed character, and then the serious person underneath who responded upon getting criticism.
I wasn't going to address this because I didn't want to dignify this with a response, but this is one of many comments that I've received on that video accusing me of perpetuating like a rape narrative, and this is unacceptable.
I'm going to be honest, the take you see in the comment that was on the screen, yeah, it's a spicy one, but the idea one must surrender to all things even if they don't want it, there is a point to that.
First of all, I'm a survivor of multiple, and the first beginning when I was a child, okay? So a comment like this is not only irresponsible, throwing that word around without realizing the weight of it and what it could do, but also not taking into account what my personal experience may be. Comments like this are extremely triggering.
Okay, so I take a number of issues with this comment. First, I can never, of course, say anything negative about what you've gone through as a person. Of course not. But to use that as a shield is quite something. And that's what you have done here. Somebody has raised a concern with you and made a comparison. A spicy comparison. Yours is to tell people what you've gone through and say that they should take that into consideration even though they never knew that, which is a terrible way of deflecting. Using your own experience to avoid, let's say, questions. Not about what you've gone through, but about the content, air quotes, satire, end air quotes, that you were putting out.
I feel like I have to get this out of the way. I don't know why people don't understand this, but that video is not a serious, like, I'm here to educate people video.
Wait, are you telling me it's just a joke, bruh?
That video is me playing a character that I play sometimes on my page because I'm an actress, okay? This adult pre-K teacher character is a character I play sometimes when I'm clapping back at comments that are, like, offensive.
If you were an actor and this was you portraying a pre-K teacher, surely you wouldn't be bringing up sexual preferences as a pre-K teacher. You fecking weirdo.
Or rude, or just ridiculous and ignorant and hateful. This was not like me seriously trying to educate the masses, okay? So then what I want to move on to is, in that video, I'm talking about prejudice against groups of people.
Two things. Firstly, how many buzzwords do you want to use in your content? And two, no, you are not talking about prejudice. You are misusing the word prejudice as a way of flaying your audience under the guise of it's satire. If you want to take lessons on real satire, might I recommend you watch someone like Def Noodles, who's renowned for his satire.
Saying that, like, it's okay for men in general to reject fat women in general and that there's no bigger issue related to it is kind of naive.
There is so much to unpack from that one statement alone, because originally it was just a joke, bruh, but now there's a serious undertone when men are rejecting fat people. By chance, does the word projection mean anything to you? And there is no underlying message or problem with guys rejecting fat men and women and other. There really isn't. In the same sense, there is nothing wrong with women rejecting men, women and other, because I can't be bothered to go through all of them honestly. I don't have the time, alright? And to patronizingly call people naive for thinking there is a bigger issue when there really isn't is remarkably condescending as someone who was just trying to make a joke. Now you're sounding salty.